Okay, let's get this show on the road. Hi, I'm Andrew, and this is Exposing D&D CRs with me, Andrew, or D&D CR Exposed, as I now know in the channel. I keep forgetting that. But yeah, let's take a look at some custom monsters or some monsters from the book, whatever. I've already got a couple requests. Looks like Clorox put in a request for Malkizid. Let's see here. All right, let me take a look at chat. Hey, Clorox, got your request. Clawpaw, how's it going? And who else do we have in chat? I know there's a couple other people. It looks like I got a few people watching here. Ah, it's Grimboy. There you are. Hello. Who else? We got one more person lurking in there. That's fine. No, you are right on time, Grimboy. We just started. I've actually been kind of impatiently waiting for 10 o'clock. I probably could have started 15 minutes ago, but I figured, you know, everyone knows it's going to be on at 10, so let's not change it. All right, so, Clawpaw, I saw, there you are. Vandary, hey, what's going on, buddy? I saw there was a few people there in chat. Good to see you. Just an impromptu, you know, exposing live stream tonight. I wasn't exactly supposed to be doing it tonight, but plans fell through for my stepdaughter's little small family get-together for her birthday because of all the crazy weather we had. So we're doing it hopefully next weekend. Let's see here. A damed delicious night, even though it's storming like hex here. Is it like snow storming or rain storming? Either one is perfectly fine by me. They're both fun in my book. Clawpaw, that is. All right, let's see here. Let me switch the scene over, and we'll get right to the live scene here. And that way I don't, you know, start exposing stuff and no one can see anything like I've done in the past. Ah, Jade Gorton, hello. Nice to see you. Pleasure having you here for the live stream. If you have any monsters you'd like to see exposed, custom, or out of official books or third party, let me know. Grimboy just got back from dinner. Excellent. How was the dinner? What was it? I had chicken, macaroni and cheese, and some veggies myself tonight. Just a quick throw together, nothing too crazy. Clawpaw, windstorm, so rainstorming. Sounds good, as long as it's not destroying anything. Let's see here. Vandary, got a homebrew boss monster I just used in my session today. If you want to take a look at it. Yeah, throw it in the Discord if you want. That way I can take a look at it after Clorox's request here. We got Malkizid on the right. For time purposes, I will not be looking at the magic because magic takes way too long, and we will just get a base look at the monster without magic and see where it lands from there. Grimboy went to this local Korean place, had the best beef bulgogi I've ever had. I've never actually had Korean. That's something I wouldn't mind trying out. I'm always adventurous and love trying new things. My wife just told me about some Jamaican place that her coworkers go to, and I'm like, oh, Jamaican, let's go. Get some jerk chicken or something. And Clawpaw, hey, we are getting the band back together. Got a link to the Discord. The one in the YouTube description is dead. Interesting. No, I just set that one up for the Discord. Let me grab a fresh one. And let's see here. That should work. All right, let's see. I'll throw that into chat. Try that one out. It might be the same. Let me see here. No, that's a new one. Okay, let me unpin that one. And I will pin this one now. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be. Ah, there we go. Okay. Okay. Looks like we're good here. So while I'm waiting on other people to throw stuff into the Discord, perfect, Vandary, excellent. Let's take a look at Malkizid here and start with that. And we'll, like I said, unfortunately we'll have to skip over the magic, but we'll look over some of the stuff that you have going here, Clorox. So we have ourselves a large fiend, and we have, let's see here, 20 natural AC with 35 hit dice. Oops, that should stay there. And we have the following stats of 29, 18, 30, 29, 26, 29. Should be a CR 27. And we have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3 saving throws. Excellent. We have a whole bunch of damage resistances, but because it's well over CR16, we won't even worry about bothering with resistances. But we can add damage immunities, and I have a theory kind of coming in play here when it comes to monsters that have maybe like 2 damage immunities but a whole bunch of resistances. You may still be able to count in damage immunities. I have to test it out, but I haven't gotten there quite yet. But we do have Fire, Necrotic, and Poison here for Malkazid, so we'll go ahead and throw in damage immunities in place here, giving us an extra 25% more hit points. Let's see here. Grimboy, it's like thin slices of stir-fried beef in Korean seasoning, super tender. Had it with some kimchi and yellow radish. It was good. Sounds fantastic. I think I've seen this on like TikTok or YouTube videos and whatnot. I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about. Okay. So we have our immunities and skills section here all taken care of, so we'll start moving into the large monster traits area. And we have an Archdevil. Malkazid is an Archdevil in exile. This grants him the following benefits. His attacks are magical, dark vision is unimpaired, has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. Alright, so that we can just do magic resistance and give him +2 effective AC bonus there. Malkazid can cast teleport spell at will and always lands on target when doing so. Okay. Still costs an action to do the teleport, but probably nothing worth noting there. And Malkazid regains 20 hit points at the start of the turn, so we have a 20 hit point regen, which will give him a total of 60 over the 3 turns. Alright, what else we got going on here? Let's see here. Nothing else for the regen. So let's see here. We have Mythic Resistance. Whenever Malkazid fails a saving throw, he can choose to expend one of his unspent legendary actions to succeed instead. Oh, wow. So that gives him a lot. Ooh. Okay. Wow. So that means he gets basically upwards of 3 every turn if we don't use any of the legendary actions. That's fascinating. I'm going to have to come back to that one. Especially if we only use maybe 1. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Holy cow. Okay, that's a really interesting one there. Let's move on to Will of the Fallen. Malkazid has twisted the brand Corellin gave him to his own benefit. Creatures within 60 feet can see him must make a 25 wisdom saving throw or become paralyzed for 1 minute. Okay, if an unaffected creature fails a saving throw by 5 or more, its wisdom score is reduced by 1 and takes psychic damage. Each time an affected creature fails the saving throw again, the psychic damage dealt increases by 5 to a maximum of 25 psychic damage dealt. This effect is cumulative and remains until Malkazid completes a short or long rest. An affected creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on a success. Okay. It's something the guys at 2C Gaming did. I like the trade-off aspect of it. Ah, yes, with the Mythic Resistance. That's curious. It's good. I like it too. It's just hard to track. Okay, Vanderi, thank you. Drop the monster in the Monster Quest channel. Perfect. Let me just double check that real quick. Oh, yep, okay. Stahlmaster. Excellent. All right, cool. We will come back to that in a little bit. All right, so Will of the Fallen. Let's take a look at this once more. So we have Wisdom saving throw. We'll expect 2 creatures, or they'll become paralyzed for 1 minute. If an effective creature fails a saving throw by 5 or more, its Wisdom score is reduced by 1 and takes 5 psychic damage. Each time an affected creature fails a saving throw again. Okay, so we keep getting all that extra psychic damage, and we are reducing the Wisdom score by 1. So that's 1 effective damage for the Wisdom score plus all that psychic damage. Reading Clawpaw's note there. Sounds like something I will enjoy. Probably. Yes, I have Grimboy. The Flind is in my channel here. If we go to YouTube and we go to my channel, and then if you click on the search bar here and just type in Flind, you'll see it come up as the first number here. 57 seconds long. I believe I confused the Flynn's artwork with another another Knoll. So it's got all the right information, just the wrong artwork in most cases. So there's the Flynn right there. Okay. Vandari, it's a very amped up version of the boss from the Dungeon or Dangerous Designs questline from EGTW, Eberron's Guide. Okay. My players were all level 9 and pretty well equipped. Nice. Sounds like it probably was a good challenge for them, hopefully. Alright, let's see here. So, Will of the Fallen. We're going to be paralyzing creatures, and what is the closest effect for paralyze? What is that, incapacitate? Paralyzed does what? Yes, incapacitates a creature. So we know that more or less will be, what was it, 16 for, no, 14 for 2 targets at level 1, spell level 1. So we'll just throw in 14 here, convert that to effective hit points for the Will of the Fallen, and in theory, we'll have 2 paralyzed targets. So we can add in roughly 35 extra hit points here because of what paralyzing is doing. On top of that, we're also dealing 5 damage up to a maximum of 25, which is cumulative. So we would take the averages of all that. So let me grab my calculator here. So it would be 5 plus 10 plus 15 plus 20 plus 25 for a total of that, and we'll divide that by 5. So we get an average of 15 damage overall. And, I mean, technically combat shouldn't last more than 3 turns in theory, but because of the max and cap and how it just keeps going even until a short or long rest, we'll go with 15 for now as a safe average or so. Grimboy, how about the Anathema? Maybe? That one I'm not too sure about. Let's see. Do I have that one? No, I do not have the Anathema. We can throw that on the list, though, if you'd like. Move those down a little bit. Those are just some random extras. We'll throw that on and take a look at that in a little bit. Alright, so back to the Will of the Fallen. We'll say that we're getting an extra 15 damage from this cumulative damage every turn or so. Actually, that's for 1 failed. So we'll double that times 2 for 2 failed, giving us at least 30 points of damage there. Perfect. Thank you, Grimboy. Then we have the Corrupted Radiance. Divine Spellcasting Malkazid, possessed at a high solar, has been corrupted by the fall. Let's see, okay. Moving on. Let's see here. I'm just looking for anything. Okay, so it's a bunch of information about the spells. We're going to skip over the spells for now because it's going to eat up way too much time, like I mentioned before. We get at least the base for the amount of damage it's doing just from melee and go from there. And if melee is over the expected challenge rating, then we know spellcasting is going to be worse. So let's move into the actions here. And we'll see that Malkazid can make 3 Claw or Corrupted Bastard Sword attacks, then uses Archdevil's Might. Alternatively, Malkazid casts up to 2 spells, the combined level of which can be no greater than 9th level. So we could have a 5th and 4th, or 2 4s, and so on down the line. If we were doing double casting, an 8 and a wall and a 7 and 2, yeah, we all know how to obviously do that. Cool. All right, so let's throw in our claws here, and we'll see that we have, what's that, 17 to hit, and for 27, that'll be a +8 proficiency, and then we're doing an extra 9, so let's see here. Yes, so 9 from the strength, perfect. So there's our +17 to hit, which for now, I'm just gonna throw that in. And then we have, let's see here, claw damage. We have 4d6 plus the strength bonus for 23 there, perfect. Okay, we'll add that in. And then after that, we have a saving throw, and its hit point maximum reduced by an amount equal to the slashing damage dealt. Okay, so we're doing double damage here. So we're all not only are we doing the 23 physical damage, but now the hit point reduce is also coming into effect, so we have to take that into account as well. So we'll times that by 2, and we're actually dealing 46 points of damage, because we're now reducing that hit point amount that can't be regenerated or healed. Oh, we've got our spammer. Thank you. The once per live stream spammer is in. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that. And let's see here, Grimboy. I wanted to see if they are overrated because the Anathema DPR is kind of insane with 4 attacks a turn and flurry of bite dealing 10d6. Yeah, it's possible. It could be a glass cannon from the sounds of things. We'll see. All right. Next we have the Corrupted Bastard Sword, and that is 20 damage of 2d10 plus 9. So we'll throw that in there. Yeah, that's definitely. Oops. Let's see here. Strength. Perfect. 20 damage there, plus 6.5 necrotic damage. All right. So we are doing 20 plus 6.5 for the Bastard Sword, and we also have. Let's see here. We have a bleed effect. While bleeding in this manner, an affected creature loses 4.5 hit points at the start of each of its turns until it receives magical healing of 5th level or higher. If Malkazid hits the same creature more than once, this effect doesn't stack on itself. Alright, that's good to know. Yes, the return, as Clawpaw said. Okay, so we also have... We will add in the bleeding damage. Well... Yeah, because we're just looking at melee and no spell casting. So let's add in the bleed damage here on top of the extra damage we have already, since that will give us every round of combat here. So we will add in what was it, the 4.5 bleeding damage. Yeah, we'll just do 4.5 there. Oh yeah, let's get rid of the 0.5. Just in case. Okay. And then after that, we have Archdevil's Might. Let's see what that does. Malkazid unleashes the true power of an Archdevil, causing one of the following effects. Summons a Devil of Yugoloth of CR 20 or lower. That won't increase the CR for Malkazid, just increases the combat encounter. Very same thing to any kind of summon and conjure spells that players do. It's just going to manipulate the encounter rating of like hard, deadly, medium, easy, and so on. After that, we also have Malkazid makes 3 Hellfire Blast attacks, and the Hellfire Blast is a ranged spell attack. Reach 300 feet, one target, 22 damage, which more than likely is correct, but let's just throw that in here anyways for the heck of it. And we do indeed have 22 damage. And that would be 3 of those. If the target is a creature, they are pushed or pulled 30 feet towards or away from Malkazid, their choice. And so we could do that 3 times. Wow, that is gnarly. Okay. So we'll do that times 3, which is a really heavy hit. And then Malkazid exerts his will on creatures he can see within 120 feet of him. The target must succeed on a wisdom save or become frightened. Okay, so this is a frightened, and unfortunately, fright at this level doesn't really do anything. We could add it in, but it's not going to modify the hit points whatsoever. Rudy Kang, hello, I subscribed a few days ago. This is my first live. I love your content. Thank you so much, Rudy Kang, sorry. Thank you, Rudy Kang. I appreciate the kind words, and I'm glad you're enjoying the content and you found the channel. Loads, I have loads, over 300 shorts to go over just from exposing CRs alone, on top of battle tactics videos, a few lessons, and all the live streams, plus older videos I unfortunately no longer do, because they just aren't getting the same response that the shorts are. So thank you for joining, and thank you for coming to the live stream. If you have any monster requests, throw them. You can definitely request them in the chat here, and you can also join the Discord and throw them in the monster request as well if you'd like. The Discord is pinned to the top of the chat there. Thank you, Clawpaw. Also, by the way, we almost at 2K. Yes, I know. I've been watching my numbers every morning. I get up and I look at the subscriber count, and I'm really surprised at how quickly it's coming on here. Oh, thank you, Rudy. That is amazing. Thank you so much for watching all those already that you have. The older ones are pretty cringy, but they're still great nonetheless. And some of them are duplicates because I've had to update and whatnot. Alright, so the Hellfire Blast is awesome, 3 attacks there, and the Archdevil's Might, we have the fear effect that unfortunately isn't going to work. So let's take a look at the last one here, Prismatic Disruption. Recharges on 5 or 6, so we'll only see that once in 3 rounds of combat in theory. And Malkazid unleashes a Torrent of Prismatic Anti-Magic in a 120-foot cone, or sphere, excuse me. Each creature in the affected area, let's see here, Dexterity saving throw taking 2 acid, cold, fire, lightning, and poison damage per level of the spell affecting it. Okay, so let's see here. Each creature in the affected area that is under the effect of a spell has that effect dispelled. Oh, okay. So it's oh, wow. All right. Oh, man, I don't even... All right. So clearly, we would want to take the average for our spell levels here. So we would say, spell level, well, let's just say spell level 4. And we'll multiply all this damage here by 4. So it would be, in theory, 1 of each type. So we would say, okay, 2.5 times, what was got? Acid, cold, fire, lightning, and poison. So that'd be 5 times 5, right? And then we would multiply that times the average of spell level 4. So we'll say the spell level 4 and 2 targets having the magic reduced or removed this way. So in theory, we might see 100 DPR from this Prismatic Disruption here. Let's see here. Oh no, not a problem, Clorox. I understand what you're saying here. I understand. It just took me a little bit to parse through it, and we got it. So we're looking at roughly 100 DPR for Prismatic Disruption. And then finally, we have some legendary actions. So let's take a look here and see what we can do for this. So Malkazid can make a claw attack or cast a cantrip. Since we're not bothering with spells right now, we'll just say the claw attacks, which is the 46 points of damage, right? And in theory, we would be doing that at a maximum of 3 times. Okay. After that, we have Exert Will. Malkazid uses Archdevil's Might, or he casts a spell at 5th level or lower, expending spell points as normal. Alright, so if we were to do Archdevil's Might, then we are just going for a pure damage. We are just seeing brute force here. And in theory, then we would use the Hellfire Blast attack, which we do 3 times, which is rough. So that would be 66 points of damage, plus we still have 1 more point left over, so we could do a claw attack, giving us 112. So far, the claw is working out 3 times in a row by itself. And then lastly, we have Wrath of the Branded King. Malkazid recharges Prismatic Disruption, or he casts a spell of 6th level or higher, expending spell slots as normal. Okay, so in theory, if we're getting an average of 100 DPR for the Prismatic Disruption, we don't want to use that unless we know our players are using something of maybe 6th or 7th level or higher to get this up even higher. Otherwise, it's better off that we just use 3 claw attacks, because in theory, Wrath of the Branded King is just going to give us this again. And then we also have the multi-attack, which I didn't cover quite yet. So let's see here. The multi-attack was 3 claw or corrupted bastard sword attacks, then uses Archdevil. So since our claws are doing the most amount of damage right now, because of also the reduced hit points, we're going to say the claw times 3. So this is what we'll do. Just to get brute force attacks here, we're looking at 6 claw attacks every round from Malkazid. And we will just take, let's see here, we'll take the multi-attack and just multiply it times 2, because we could do the same thing for our legendary actions, since that's doing the most amount of damage in theory, and we'll multiply that times 3 for every round of combat. And we end up way down there. Okay, so I don't even need to look at spells to know that this is much higher than expected for CR27. If anything, let me just scan real quick for some important ones like Shield, or anything else that might jump out at me like that. So we have Sacred Flame, Toll the Dead, Word of Radiance, Bane, Command, Guiding Bolt, Inflict Wounds, Blindness, Deafness, Hold Person, Spiritual Weapon, Bestow Curse is Spiritual Weapon is definitely going to be on the top of the list because that doesn't take concentration and is cast as a bonus action, which nothing else was using bonus action. So Spiritual Weapon is something that's going to ramp up the damage even further. We got here Dawn, Flare, Stretch, Destructive Wave, Blade Barrier, Harm, Heal, Sunbeam. Okay, yeah, so I'm not seeing any of the important ones like Misty Step or Shield. Those ones would also usually need to be added in because it would add in bonus actions, reactions, and whatnot, but we don't have those to worry about. So now we have ourselves at CR 30 for Malkazid here, just with Brute Force alone. But let's take a look and see what's going on. Just reading your comment here, Clorox. I didn't realize that reducing hit point maximum would basically double the effective damage of the attack. Probably just going to remove the effect. Okay, let's remove that then. Hi, Clyde. How's it going? Legendary action Blade Barrier, though. Legendary action Blade Barrier. Oh, right. With the spell. I think I saw it. Was it in there? I don't remember. I'm just, right at the moment, I'm just looking. I was scanning through the spells to see if there was anything important. But we're just going with brute force, no spell casting, just to see where we're at here. So if we're gonna remove the effect of reducing hit points as well, let's see what we get next. Okay, now we are a little over the CR 28, which is perfectly fine. I just want to double check something here because right now our base DCR is at 29 and it capped at 30. Let's double check this to see where our effective AC is at. So our effective AC is at 24, and we're expecting a 19, which means we are 5 points over. So that's a +2 movement. So technically, Malkazid's DCR is actually 31. So if we add 31 plus 25, we get 56. Divide that by 2. Yeah, still works out to be CR 28. So with brute force melee alone, you're looking at, if you remove the hit point reduction as well, Clorox, we got a CR 28. You just need to tweak this a little bit, maybe reduce, maybe go, let's say 3d6 instead. And there you go. Now we have a base 27 without spell casting. So if you do 3d6 on the claws, you're good there. But then we also have the sword that's doing the attack. So let's switch this up since the sword is doing more damage now. So our multi-attack will be 24 instead. And that bumps it back up to a 28. So just tweak I would say tweak the melee abilities a little bit, bring them down to roughly a 20. If we were to say, I don't want to say 1. Maybe bring that down to a D8. Let's see what we got there. Yeah, it's still, tweak it a little bit. Have some fun with it and see what happens to get yourself melee alone down to a CR 27 Clorox. And that's Malkazid, at least from the melee brute force alone. Spellcasting is going to make this different for sure. And I would definitely go, what I would suggest is, build yourself like some kind of a tracker, get all the spell damage out in front of you for every spell level, and then you could kind of go from there as well to see where you might go with the spellcasting. Okay, next up was, I believe it was Vanderi. Vanderi had a request in the Discord. And, we got Balrog also put up a request for the UN. Oh, yeah, okay. There we go. Thank you. That's the anathema. Okay. Grimboy. All right, so Grimboy's Balrog on there. I couldn't remember that part. Let me make a note of that. Let's see here. Anyways, I'm not going to waste time with that. We have the Iron Prince from Clawpaw. All right, let me jump on to Vanderi's here, since his was next. And we'll take a look at that with Stallmaster. Okay, let's see here. Now they're all here. Yes, indeed, Clawpaw. And Clorox, thank you very much. You probably fall over seeing the mythic stats. They're absolutely nuts. Did I miss the mythic stats? Oh, I can imagine. for everything else. Oh, and we didn't even consider mythic resistance, but that would take away from the attacks for Malkazid. So, depends on if you want to have that give and take, because if we take a couple away, just play with the numbers, Clorox. I'm sure you'll find something that looks good. That could be another thing. You could, instead of doing 3 legendary actions, you could take one away and do some regeneration instead, or not regeneration, but do some resistances or something instead. Okay. On to Stallmaster for Vanderi. Let's take a look here. So we have ourselves a large construct. Epic Legacy Mythic Creatures. They are on another level. I bet. It's from the book you were talking about, right? Yes, Clawpaw. That was Grimboy who put up the request for the Anathema. Okay. Back to Stallmaster here. Large construct. We've got 20 AC for that. And we have 15 D10 hit dice with the following stats of 24, 10, 16, 20, 10, and 16. Should be CR 16. We have 3 saving throws of Con, Int, and Wisdom. So we'll pop that in for +2 AC bonus. We have Lightning Resistance and Fire Poisoning Psychic. So this is one thing I was talking about again. We have the damage resistances here with one condition. But we also have damage immunities of Fire, Poison, and Psychic. Now, if we were missing one, for instance, let's say we had damage immunities of Fire and Poison, I have a theory that if we have 2 and 1, or 2 and 1 the other way, so like 2 resistances and 1 immunity, or 2 immunities and 1 resistance, that may still trigger. That may still trigger one or the other. I'm working on it. It's a theory. Haven't quite confirmed that or not. Let's see here. Yep, Tome of Titans. The Kickstarter for Volume 2 is out now. Oh, Lord. Tome of Titans. Yikes. Fire Absorption. I forgot to add that, I think. And call upon a bad French accent. Grimboy. I should have known. Chef's kiss. Oh, so Vanderi should have Fire Absorption. Okay. We'll try. I'll try to remember to work that in and see if what that could or couldn't do. Change it anyways. All right, so that's everything for the skills area. Into the monster stats, we have Pilot. The Stallmaster requires a medium humanoid to pilot it. While inside the Stallmaster, the pilot uses the vehicle's speed and action, so on and so forth. If the Stallmaster drops to 0 hit points, the pilot's ejected. Okay, cool. Doesn't bother with the CR, which we don't have to worry about. And we have Overheat, 2 per day, up to twice per day. Huron may intentionally allow the armor to overheat, granting it an increased movement speed. In addition, any melee attacks do an additional 1d6 fire damage on hit. And any creature that ends in its turn within 5 feet of Stallmaster or moves within 5 feet takes 1d10 fire damage, so 5 extra fire damage. And how long does that last? If the Stallmaster is kept in this state for more than 2 rounds, per day, there's a 15% increasing likelihood at the start of each round that the armor will experience catastrophic failure, causing the pilot to be ejected. Cool, I like that. Landing prone in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of the vehicle. If the vehicle overheats like this, it is considered destroyed and inoperable. That's funny, I like that. Okay, alright, until he turns it off. Thank you. Okay, so, let's see here. More than 2 rounds per day. So we're talking like, so the overheat, if it stays in that overheated condition, like, so if we use it the first time and we stay in it 3 rounds, we would have to check against 15% to see if it goes into the failure and continue on. All right, so more than likely we can easily say that we'll get 3 rounds out of this, dealing upwards of 5 damage per hit. Yeah, so every round beyond 2 rounds. Okay, perfect. So we'll use the heated body here, and so it's, let me see here. So the damage comes from being within 5 feet of it or moving into it, and melee attacks. So we're going to double the damage here because it's from being hit and from being within 5 feet. So that will be 5.5, so we're looking at 11 damage for heated body, which is perfectly fine. shouldn't have left. After that, we pretty much have Overheat situated, so that's good. We'll move on to our combo of Legendary Resistance and Magic Resistance. So we'll do that for 3 uses, and we also pop in Magic Resistance there. Immutable form, doesn't matter, doesn't take any effect, same as magic weapons, and then we have some spell casting. As I've said before, I'm going to skip the spell casting in lieu of faster exposings, and we'll just look at brute force for the Stallmaster here. So moving into what we have for actions and the rest here. We've got, let's see, the suit makes 2 melee attacks, or 1 ranged attack and 1 melee attack, or 2 ranged attacks. So basically any combination of the 2. So we're looking at 12 plus 12 to hit, and that would be for CR 16. It would be a 5 plus 7. So that perfectly works out perfect. The attack bonus is correct, and we have Thunder Maul. And that is, let's see here, 2d6 plus 7. So 2, and then the strength bonus of 14. So Thunder Maul, we need to update the bludgeoning damage from 13 to 15, because every die by itself has a half die. So it's the average is for the D6 is 3.5. So that's, or did you? No, you already counted that. What, did I do something wrong here? Wait, what did I do? Let me see here. 3.5 times 2. Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So it should be 7 points for the 2d6 Vandari plus 7 more for the strength bonus. So just a little point there. That's all. Plus 4.5 for thunder damage, and then on this makes a con save or has disadvantage on attack rolls and wisdom checks until the start of the Stallmaster's next turn. So gets like a little bit of a shock, which is cool. And that, in theory, is the same as the poisoned condition. So we're expecting we hit every time with the Thunder Maul, and we could use the poisoned condition effect like that. So if every time it hits, just like Stench, giving a creature disadvantage and gives the monster +1 on effective bonuses here. So we'll add in Stench for the Thunder Maul attack, which probably will end up hitting. So attack number 1 will be the 14 plus 4.5 for a total of 18.5 for the Thunder Maul plus the disadvantage there. And then we have Arcane Propulsion Arm, and that one will be, let's see here. All right, so we have 9.5 for the initial hit of damage, and then what else do we have here? So we have a strength save, considered grappled and restrained on each of the target's sequential turns, and makes it and could break free. So we have 2 different arms here. All right, that's cool. And the grapple attack, interesting. It does so much less damage, but we're looking for a potential grapple. Because the Thunder Maul does so much more damage, I'm going to say if we stick with melee, then I would do 2 melee maul attacks. Yes, plus the fire damage from overheat as well. Okay. Did I, yeah, okay. I think I got you on that one there. Yeah, because the extra damage from overheat will be in what is already being calculated in. All right, and then what else do we have here? The arm basically fires off and pins a target, and then the pilot gets into range and attacks with advantage. Oh yeah, because it's restrained. Okay, so should it be 1 Thunder Maul and 1 arcane propulsion arm then, or can you pick one like 2 of each? So could I do 2 propulsion arms or 2 Thunder Mauls, or is the aim 1 Thunder Maul and 1 propulsion arm? Welcome back, Grimboy. Thank you. Let's see here. Well, I'm waiting for that answer. Oh, you can pick. Okay. All right, so in theory, I would end up going for the higher amount of damage, just for brute force damage here. All right, let's see here. Just 1 propulsion arm. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay, so I see what you're going here. Let's move on. All right, and then lightning launcher, +10 to hit, one target, 11. So let's throw that in here. Let's see here, 2d6 plus 5. That's coming from where? Where's the +5 coming from for lightning launcher? Joshua Fuller, thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you for joining us here on the channel and for the live stream. If you have any requests, hopefully I'll be able to get to it before 11 o'clock. Thank you. I appreciate it. And thanks for stopping by. Yeah, Venderi, for lightning launcher, where's the +5 coming from? Because I'm not, unless it's coming from the intelligence bonus? Oh, okay. Intelligence plus proficiency. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll go with that. +5. Cool. All right. All right. So yes. Then so update the lightning launcher should be 12 points of damage. Just that again that half point of damage on the dice. Not a big deal. All right. So we're looking at out of everything here. For the multi-attack, I would stick with 2 Thunder Mauls. Yep. Yeah, I see that because the +5 for the proficiency. Perfect. Got you, Venderi. Thank you. For multi-attack, and let me know if this wasn't the intended idea, I would stick with 2 Thunder Maul attacks because it's giving us the most amount of damage, plus we're also shocking the creature, giving it a disadvantage on the attack rolls, and wisdom perception checks as well. So if that's not the intention, let me know. Otherwise, I personally would stick with that. Okay, gotcha. Perfect. So that's the multi-attack then. And then we also have a bonus action, a defensive field. 3 per day. While operating, Stallmaster generates a defensive field around itself with a hit point maximum equal to 30. Whenever the Stallmaster would take damage, the ward takes the damage instead. If this damage reduces the ward to 0 hit points, the Stallmaster takes. All right. This is cool. This is technically a regen. That's an easy way to work on that. And my thought is you can fire off the propulsion arm, pin a target, then go to town. That's a great setup. And I can totally understand and see your point there of having it restrained for the advantage on the attack. From straight brute force, if I were just looking to try and take down a player as fast as possible, just go to town with the maul attacks. But I completely see what your theories were for that attack combination. I like it. And we can check to see what it would look like together. So let me do this as well. I'll take a second multi-attack here, one of each of these. And we can apply that in later on. All right, so the defensive field, it's giving us 30 temporary hit points. And technically, since we have 3 of those, we can just count that as a regen. It's not regenning, it's stopping 30 hit points every round of every time we use it. So in theory, we would have upwards of an extra 90 hit points for the Stallmaster. Aptly named. All right, then for legendary actions, we have attacks. The Stallmaster makes 1 Thunder Maul or 1 Lightning Launcher attack. So just for theory, we're already in melee combat. We'll go with the Maul attacks times 3. Let's see here. Also, Huron likes to think of himself as more clever than everyone else, so he likes to show off how clever he is with his gimmicks. Makes sense with this one. Okay, I can see that. That's cool. And then legendary action 2, defensive shift. The Stallmaster can move up to half its movement to an unoccupied space without provoking attacks of opportunity. So defensive shift is very similar to aggressive, allowing you use a bonus action basically to move. That only adds 2 effective DPR. It's kind of pointless, so I'm going to shift away from defensive shift. Since it doesn't really do anything, I'm just going to say 0 for the time being. And then lastly, we have Gravity Well. When a huge or smaller creature the Stallmaster can see ends its turn within 30 feet, it can use its reaction to magically force the creature to make a strength saving throw, pulling the creature up to 30 feet towards it into an unoccupied space. All right. If the target is pulled to a space within 5 feet, the Stallmaster can make a melee attack against it immediately. That's cool. I like that. I can see the reasoning behind that. And I'll just do that times 2. So in theory, for our perfect conditions and just straight up, like, attacking, we would do them all and just swing many times. Like, we're talking 5 times the attacks for them all. So this would be that. Let's see here. Sorry, let me start this over with the parentheses. We would take the multi-attack plus the legendary attacks of just using the maul a whole bunch of times and just smashing away, and multiply that times 3 for 3 rounds of combat. And we're looking at CR 20 so far, just from melee alone. Okay. Of course, this is the perfect scenario and setup for this monster. What else could we think here? We have, let's see what happens here, just for the heck of it. Let's say our immunities are bypassed. And this is something I've been looking into doing a lot now. We have a CR 20, but in theory, because the damage immunities only rely on fire, poison, and psychic, let's get rid of immunities because we're going to have a lot of melee just attacking us, right? Drops our CR down to 20, or 18. So we're moved from 20 to 18, which is perfectly fine. And we end up using up all of our legendary resistances. Now we have a CR 16. So I would say, if anything, right now, leaving in the legendary resistances and getting rid of the immunities, because the immunities are going to be bypassed in most cases, except for the fire, poison, and psychic. And like you said, you also have the fire absorption for the fire damage, so we would also be regenerating a little bit of hit points there as well. CR 18 in its current form is probably accurate. I would say that's very, very close to what you would expect on the table for this particular boss. Because these 3 are not going to happen, these 4 here, lightning, fire, poison, and psychic, are not going to happen all that often at the table. Casters are going to pick up on this and they're going to stop casting that type of magic and they'll switch to something else. Our players, if they have like a flame tongue, will turn off the fire, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I would say CR 18 is probably very good for this. Just want a quick check to see what we have for spells. If there's anything important here that I could add in. Absorb elements, magic missile, thunder wave, catapult, power attack, lightning bolt, pattern, dispel magic, stone skin, fire shield, and resilient sphere. So nothing that is pressing in my mind, especially since let's see here. You know, if we were to use the lightning bolt, 3 slots of lightning bolt right off the top with the legendary actions is going to bump this up even higher already. No. It's not terrible at all. And like I said, let's see. We have lightning bolt here, and we cast it at level 3 alone. That's 56 points of damage. I know that one because fireball is the same thing. So let's say we switch this out for 3 casts of lightning bolt. We're back to CR 20. So here you go, Bandari. You know, instead of using the maul on your main attack, and you save the maul for just the legendary actions, and you use lightning bolt right off the bat, 3 rounds right off, we're back to CR 20 again. So yeah, I would say just base, we have ourselves a CR 18. And I guess the question is this construct supposed to be more of a melee unit or more of a spellcaster? And possibly looking at how to switch those around a little bit depending on where you want this monster, or where you want this construct to be. Let's see here. I got lucky when I critted the mage at the table that I rolled low, though. Very, very lucky, I would say, for sure. Okay. Let's move on. We had another monster here that was requested by Grimboy in the Discord. If you're not a part of the Discord and would like to join us there, the link is pinned in the live chat here. Okay, let's see here. The UNT Anathema D&D Wiki. So, let's see here. Okay, let's go take a look at that. And let's see where we're at here. UNT Anathema. Huge monstrosity. Alright. So, huge UNT with, let's see here. We got 16 AC with 18 D12 hit dice with the following stats of 23, 13, 19, 17, 19, and 20. Vanderi says, I do need to refine it a bit, but story-wise, it's supposed to be a product of the NPC who had been shunned and exiled from the community for being unethical, and his way to show them all. And how great he is. I like the theory. It definitely sets up for a really great villain that believes he's right and probably is right in why he's doing anything, if this is supposed to be the villain for your campaign. And Grimboy, I think this guy is going to be overrated. Okay, so you think it's not as high as a CR12, or the rating is going to be higher than a CR12? Alright, let's see. Where were we here? Hit dice are all set, so 189, that's perfect. Should be a challenge rating 12. We don't have any saving throws. We have resistances on acid, fire, and lightning, and we have immunities to poison. So let's go ahead and throw in the resistances for now. We'll come back and tick that off, just so we can see where we are at if players are using and have all of these resistances here. But more than likely we can take that off because it's not the main core ones. And then we'll move down into the traits because we are all set with the skills area. And we have magic resistance, so +2 effective AC bonus. Okay, you think it's going to be higher than the CR12. Okay, gotcha. Then we have Ophidiophobia. Ophidiophobia aura. Any creature of the anathema's choice other than a snake or yuan that starts its turn within 30 feet of the anathema and can see or hear it must succeed on a wisdom save throw or become frightened of snakes and yuan. Okay. So we have our fear aura here, and if I tick frightful presence, it's going to do nothing. And the reason why it's doing nothing is because our yuan here is over CR10. So even though this fear may work initially, players will be able to get rid of the fear almost immediately on that turn or the next turn. So unfortunately, the fear won't do anything. But keep the fear there. It's cool and could trigger at least maybe once. Let's see here. Due to its magic resistance and full of bites. Is that translated into English something like snake phobia aura? Probably. I have no idea. I would just do a Google search on this particular word to see if that's right. Probably is the fear of snakes. Yes, I've ticked in the magic resistance right there. All right, we have shape changer. Nothing doesn't work there. And then we have 6 heads, and that is, let's see here, blended charm. Okay, all that for conditions. We don't have to worry about the 6 heads doing anything for the CR either. So let's go back over here and take a look at the actions, and let's see what we have here. So multi-attack in anathema form only. The anathema makes 2 claw attacks, 1 constrict attack, and 1 flurry of bites attack. So let's see what we have here. So we have a CR12, and the 12 is a proficiency bonus of 4, and the bonus is +10, so perfect. That's the correct attack bonus there, just to double check. And then we get, let's see here, for the claws, we are looking at 2d6 + 6. 6 coming from strength, so let's see here, perfect. The claw is doing 13 points of damage there. And then for the second attack, the constrict, let's see here, 1 large or smaller creature is being dealt a whole bunch of damage there. So we're looking at 3d6 plus the 6 again for 16.5, plus another 7 acid damage. Okay, so we'll take the 16.5, add in 7 for a total of 23.5 on the constrict. And then let's see here. We have the grappled, so we can definitely do that. And we will throw in the constrict bonus here for 1 effective AC. And then from there, until this grapple ends, the target is restrained and takes 16 more damage. So same amount of damage each round on its turns, and the anathema can't constrict another target. Okay. So we don't have to roll for that again, but it's doing consistent damage every round. That's cool. So we're going to get double damage in theory for that. Yeah, every round of combat, because we could just reconstrict Grimboy, we could reconstrict, and then they'll just take the damage again. So in theory, the constrict damage is just being dealt twice. So for every round of combat, we're going to get this at least twice because of that condition, I believe. Let's just double check that. At the start of each of its turns. So yes, the player is taking the constrict damage again on their turn, and then when the anathema's turn comes back around, they can just reconstrict and start applying that again. Yeah, so we're looking at double damage for the constrict here. And then flurry of bites, let's see. So that one's going to be 66 plus 6. So 27 is there, plus 14 poison, 14 more poison damage. So that will be that, plus the 14 for a total 41. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be beefy. All right, so we got, for the multi-attack, 2 claws, 1 constrict, and 1 flurry. Let's see here. I plan on using one of these for a boss when the player is raided UNT Temple. Boy, they're not going to have good time for sure when that comes in. Oh boy. All right, so we're looking at 101 damage for the anathema when your players raid the UNT Temple, and every round of combat we'll be doing that 101 times 3 rounds. And yeah, it looks like we are sitting on a CR 15. Hey, Joe Math. No, not exactly. I mean, there's still some time left. I'm going to be reviewing Clawpaw's monster real quick, the Iron Prince stat block after this, and then we'll see where we're at. All right, Grimboy. Yeah, it looks like this is a CR 15 monster with the current attacks. Now, if you were to switch, like let's say we reword the constrict a little bit and get rid of the extra damage from this. Oh yeah. All right, hold on. Before we mess with anything else, hold on. Let's get rid of the resistances, because the resistances are, although there are 3 of them, fire and lightning are going to be very common. Acid maybe not so much, but we're only looking at maybe 1 to 2 players slinging fire and lightning damage. Let's see if the resistances are bypassed and where we're at there. Okay, now we're at a CR 13, so we're 1 step over your expected CR 12. And this is right now, with everything the way it is, this is where I would expect it, at a CR 13. And it's not terrible. It's not that much more over what you had expected. Let's see here. Sounds cool, Grimboy. What level are they? Yeah, what level are the players? That'd be interesting to know. And Joe Math, I think this week I'm going to check all of the SKT monsters. I hope this won't disappoint me. Be prepared for that, Joe Math, and if you're not, then hey, awesome. Your players are level 13, but they have a magic item that makes the whole party immune to poison and acid for a day. They got it specifically for this temple. Oh, wow. Okay, so how many of those players do you have, Grimboy? We'll do some quick math here to figure out the encounter difficulty and go from there. Okay, so the one last thing I want to look at is if we get rid of the double damage on the constrict, let's see what we have there. Okay, that drops it down to a CR 11, and with the resistances bypassed as well. So we're kind of floating around that CR 12. And yeah, that is, we're close. Like I said, if you leave it at the CR 13 and consider the resistances bypassed, I would just say, all right, don't worry about messing with anything else. Leave it the way it is and just change the challenge rating from 12 to 13. So let's see here. Oh, it's from Volos. Okay. 1729. Okay. Imagine having toxicity traits on your monsters. Haha. Okay. So, let's see here. Grimboy. There's a really quick way to check to see where your monster's going to be at here. So you have 4 players at level 13 each, right? You said? Yeah, so they're level 13. So 4 players times level 13 equals 52. So they have a combined level of 52, right? So we then take that 52, and since they are in the ranges of 11 to 16, we'll multiply that by times 75%. So 39 is their difficulty threshold. If you have a combined monster CR of 39 or over 39, then the encounter becomes deadly. If this monster, if you're putting, if this is a solo monster up against it, then they have a whole lot more room to play with. So for instance, let's say we have the 39 and we subtract the 13 from this anathema. You still have 26 more points of CR monsters to use. So you could literally throw 3 anathemas at your party. If you were to take the 3 of these anathemas at CR 13, so 13 times 3, we would get the 39 that your players are technically worth as a monster themselves at base. And because they also have the poison resistances and whatnot from what you said, this will make it even easier for the players because they'll be resisting that extra damage and whatnot. So yeah, you could potentially throw 3 of these at your players and have no problems with it. Oh god, and Serpent Killer, they're gonna tear through these guys, no problem. The reason they're going to the temple is because the ranger hates UNT and has them as the favorite enemy. Okay, that makes sense. Alright, so there you go, Grimboy. There's your anathema. I would just rate it at CR 13 and then throw 3 of them at your players when they stumble into the part of the temple that you were going to use this at anyways. And have fun with that. Alright. Let's take a look at this last one here, and then we will call it a night. And Grimboy's Iron Prince stat block. Okay, so let's reset the tool. And we have a medium construct. Alright, perfect. Medium construct for the Iron Prince. 15 hit point, or 15 AC. Okay, it won't be alone. It's being packed by 2 UNT Malisons and 2 UNT Giant Constrictor Snakes. Try out that encounter build that I was suggesting there and see if the monsters... actually, let me double check real quick. You want... do I have... Are those... Let's see here. Let's see here. Malazan. What type are they? 3s. Okay, they're all CR3s for the Malazans, so that would be 6. Alright, so we had 39. Alright, so let's see here. The player rating was 39. And the anathema was minus 13. The 2 Malazans are CR3 each, so that's CR6. And then we also had, what was it? Let's see here. 2 UNT Giant Constrictor Snakes. Are those standard constrictor snakes? Giant constrictor snakes there, Grimboy? Because if that's the case, those are CR2s, which would only be a total of CR4. Yeah, okay. So you still have 16 CR, you still have CR16 worth of monsters you could throw into that encounter before it becomes deadly. If you're looking for this to be a hard encounter, add 16 points more worth. You could put in 2 anathemas, everything else you had there, and still have room for 1 more CR3. So you could have 2 anathemas, 3 of the Malazans, and 2 of the Giant Constrictor Snakes, and that would be a hard, borderline deadly encounter for your players. Maybe take off the second Malazan and just do 2 of each, and then you have a really strong encounter there for your players to challenge them. Okay, back to the Iron Prince, and we'll finish this up for the night. Let's see here. We have our AC in the way, and then we have 15 D10 hit dice with the following stats of 26, 7, 24, 11, 8, and 12. with a CR of 12 itself. We have 3 saving throws of Con, Strength, and Charisma, giving us +2 effective AC bonus. We have vulnerabilities of Psychic, but because that's a trait that won't come up much, we won't bother with the vulnerabilities. We do have resistances, and we have a whole load of immunities. Bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks, as well as acid, poison, and lightning. Okay, let's throw in those immunities. And regular damage resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing regardless. Interesting. Okay. Alright, we'll move down into the monster traits, and we have Menacingly Posture. Outside of combat, the Iron Prince remains completely calm and does not move. He is completely immune to all kinds of spells or effects in this state. He rolls for initiative if he is touched. If a creature does not expect him to move, his first attack has advantage. Okay. Since the immunity to spells happens outside of combat, we don't have to worry about that, but I will give him Ambusher because of the whole thing about not moving first in combat and getting advantage. So we'll give him a +1 effective AC bonus, or effective attack bonus. Let's see here. I'll swap the Malazans to Abominations and the Constrictor Snakes to Malazans. That sounds good. So an overall increase of 11 CR. Perfect. That will probably be a nice, strong encounter then. I like that. Let's see here. What was that? Abomination. UNT Abominations. Those are CR 7s. So yeah, so that would be 14 plus the 6. Yeah, perfect. That excellent. There you go, Grimboy. That will be a nice, challenging encounter for them. Okay. So, Menacing Posture, I'm going to give the +1 effective attack bonus for that on the first move. By the way, for those interested, all of you, this is the Iron Knuckle from the Zelda Ocarina of Time and the Majora's Mask games. The name Iron Prince is the direct translation of the German name. Cool. Let's see here. Immutable form doesn't matter. Heavy armor. If the Iron Prince is above 50% of his maximum hit points, he cannot be pushed away. Alright, we won't have to worry about that. Magic weapons doesn't matter. Dual strategy. When the Iron Prince is above 50% of his maximum hit points, he attacks with disadvantage and has disadvantage on all dexterity saving throws, but has advantage on con saves and strength saves, and gains +6 to his armor class. If he is beneath 50% hit points, he gains proficiency in dex saving throws, and his movement speed is increased by 10. Wow, okay. Let me come back to that in a second. We have Heavy Critter here. So we have an improved critical range from 18, 19, and 20, so we will look into that. Put the 18 into my damage, critical damage calculator here, so we can update that once we have all of our damage worked out. Alright, so the dual strategy. Let's see here. He attacks with disadvantage and has disadvantage on all dexterity saves. Okay, not really too worried about the saving throws. If he is beneath 50%, he gains proficiency in dex save throws. How does that work? Doesn't gain advantage when he's under 50% hit points. Interesting. And he gains +6 to his armor class for a short period of time. So I would say we'll take the 15 and we'll add in +3 for an average, because he'll have that +6 half the time and the +6 he won't have. So we'll just cut that right in half and say, well, we'll give him 3 more AC for the purposes of calculating this out. As for disadvantage, that's a tricky one. I'm not really sure how to work with that. I mean, sunlight sensitivity, we don't calculate that in, but this is a permanent thing because sunlight sensitivity is situational. Yeah, Joe Math, that could work too. Let me see what happens with that, and we'll go from there. Would you just give him the +3 effective AC and half the bonus and get his advantage, disadvantage? I guess we'll go with that for now. I'm not going to worry too much about the disadvantage, because in theory we're guessing the best case scenarios, so in theory he'll still hit regardless. how I see it is the 1 with disadvantage, but 2 with advantage. True. Yeah. All right. We'll do that for now. We'll say we'll just go with that because I'm not too sure how to work with the dual strategy. So that's a unique trait for sure. We'll come back to that if need be. All right. So we have parry for a reaction. So we'll throw the parry in. +1 more effective AC, and then we have Golem makes 2 attacks. All right. So we have 12 to hit. This is supposed to be a 12. So let's see here. The 12 is expecting a 4 plus we have 8 there, so that's perfectly good for the attack bonus. Yeah, that's what I thought, normal. Okay, let me finish up with the attacks here and we'll go from there. Whoa! Oh, holy cow! 52 damage. Woo! Okay. 8d10 plus the strength modifier for 52. Wow. Actually, I can just jump right down to the multi-attack. All right, so multi-attack, this times 2. And that times 3 rounds of combat. Oh, from the, oh, I see, in the multi-attack. Gotcha. Okay. All right, so with difficulty trying to work out the attack bonus, all right, let me think here. I'm going to go back to saying 3 on the AC, and I'm going to subtract 1 from the attack bonus because it's not going to be above 50% hit points for very long, in theory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the attack bonus and subtract 1 from it. So we'll do that because with situational things, with attack bonuses, like with the kobolds and pack tactics, they only get +1 because they need someone else there to be with them. So we're looking at -1 for the effective attack bonus, which should be, yeah. So it evens out with the parry or whatever else it was from Ambusher. And then yes, we do have the improved critical, right? So we need to add that amount of damage in as well. So we're looking at, let's see here, 104. We also need to minus out the strength from the 2 attacks, so that we'll do the 104 minus, let's see here, mind blank, minus 16, so a total of 88 damage. With the improved critical of 18 to 20, we're looking at potentially 26 effective damage added onto every round of combat until we finally hit a crit. And with 18 to 20, that's 15%. Should be seeing that quite often. So we can come in here and take the multi-attack and add in the damage output here of 26 from the improved critical. Thank you, Joe Math. I almost missed that as well. So with the improved critical range of 18 to 20, we're looking at CR 18 here over CR 12. So first thing, let's say our players have ways to bypass immunities. And then it has resistance regardless on bludgeon, piercing, and slashing. So we can't get past that. But the problem is that we're looking at, okay, so it goes from 18 to 17. We are higher than expected, so we have to modify our CR from 12 to 17. So now, because of the modifications, our resistances are basically null and void at this point because it's so high. We go back to 16 here. So, oh no, darn it, we're on a infinite loop here. So we're at like 16 and a half, we'll say 17, because this is going to keep bouncing back and forth. So in theory, the Iron Prince is basically a CR 17 monster with everything going on here as it stands, Clawpaw. Plus superior critical. Okay. So Clawpaw, your Iron Prince here, I would say is a CR 17. Needs a little bit of modifications. to get it down to the CR12, especially considering that our defensive rating is roughly at a 12 already for the DCR 12. So we gotta tone back on the damage a little bit. Like, let's say we do 4d10 instead of 8 and cut that literally in half and see what happens there. Okay, we have a CR 14 now if we tone down the damage a little bit. And let me see what we get there. All right, so that sticks at 14 as well. CR 17, let's see here. 4 players, 7 players, 4th level. Oh man. 7 players times 4, 28. We take that 28 and multiply it by 25% because they're in the 1 to 4 range. So they could handle up to CR 7. Yeah, the weapon's a great axe. Level 4 players are about at 27 hit points. Yeah, they're gonna have a hard time. They're gonna. Oof. Yes, exactly. 1-hit kills, Joe Math for sure. Okay, Clawpaw, there you go. At current, your monster here, the Iron Prince, is a, I would say, CR 17 because we hit that bounce back and forth there, and another interesting and fun monster to take a look at. Thank you for thank you for sharing with all of us. And that is going to be it for the live stream tonight. We've gone a little bit over time, but I'm perfectly fine going over. We've covered 4 custom monsters from our players here, and I won't say players, but from the subscribers to the channel. Thank you everyone that joined up. There's a whole bunch of you tonight, and that was super appreciated. Let me see what we got here in the chat. Try changing the attack bonus. Oh, right. The attack bonus needs to go down. I forgot about that. Let me modify that just a little bit here because that was from a 12. Oh, yeah, with the 17, that goes up even higher. Oh, anyways. Oof, yeah, that'll make it a little bit even higher. Let's see here. Clawpaw. Weird. Last time I threw a CR7 and CR6 at them at 3rd level. You know your party, Clawpaw. Don't worry about it. You know your party. Joe Math, they don't have Revivify. Clorox. Think you could find the calculation I mentioned earlier. Very curious what it's going to be. Which one are you talking about, Clorox? I don't recall. And Joe Math, I recommend trying it yourself with 7 level 4s. Infinite attack build up in D&D. Oh god, all the parties are rogues. Oh no. Just waiting on. Oh, it was in reference to encounter difficulties. I think you could find the calculations I mentioned earlier. Very curious what it's going to be. Let me see here. I don't recall which one that was, Clorox. If you can remind me really quick. At 10:59. Yeah, I know. I gotta get to sleep here pretty quick. Hit me up in the Discord, Clorox. I don't recall, unfortunately. I'm getting... It's past my bedtime. Send me a message in Discord or hit me up on the channel or in the Discord server there and let me know. Remind me what we were talking about because I'm totally lost it now, unfortunately. And we'll go from there. But anyways, thank you all so much for joining. Everyone that stopped by, you guys have been awesome hanging out with me all this hour and 15 or so minutes. Thank you so much for stopping by, showing us your custom monsters, and taking a look at them in the live stream. Once again, you've all been awesome. Thank you so much. And this is me, Andrew, with D&D CR Exposed, asking, are your encounters even rated? Have a good night, everyone. And I'll see you maybe next week. Who knows?